Mark Williams. Welcome to Resilience Radio. I know that you're all humble and stuff, but to me, you're a big bleeping deal. And I think over the past 6 years, watching you and being like, oh, I know that guy, it's been fun for me. So I want to welcome you to the program, but I also want to start over. I want to start way back. Who is Mark Williams? What's this dude's deal? When did he? Because we're both not only preachers' kids, but we're both Baptist preachers' kids. So I don't even know.
Right.
So do you have a big fancy introduction?
No, not really. Choctaw filmmaker living here in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Have two companies, Network Productions, Digital Feather Media, and so I do a lot of freelance work, and I'm the digital media specialist for Seminole Nation of Oklahoma as well. So all those titles, keep me pretty busy.
I want to shake and baby syndrome you right now because it's like so much more than that. Screenwriter, filmmaker, he's on Amazon Prime, people. Like, this is a big deal.
Ask me what you want to know. I'll tell you.
What I would like to know is, are you Mississippi band or Oklahoma band?
So I'm actually both.
We all split, yeah.
Yeah, I'm enrolled with the Mississippi band. So my dad is full-blood Mississippi Choctaw. My mom is full-blood Oklahoma Choctaw. So I'm right there down the middle, and but enrolled with the Mississippi crew.
Sweet. So I saw on your Facebook that you're single, but now I'm wondering how cousin we are.
Would you say cousins?
Yeah, I don't know now. Now we have to have this long conversation on how related, if we are.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Wink. I guess we can just
never know.
We can change our statuses to it's complicated.
Yeah, that'll get people talking, huh?
They already do.
Yeah.
So Mark Williams, filmmaker, I got introduced to you, I want to say like 2015, when you were working with the Native American ghost hunters. And from that point, from sitting in the dark with a bunch of your Native friends to being on Amazon Prime, I want to talk about that journey. So why did you pick up a camera? Why not a flute, Mark?
I did play flute like way back. No, it wasn't a flute. I forgot what kind of instrument it was. But when I was in school, played some kind of instrument.
Recorder.
Yeah, something like that. I wasn't very good at that. So, but yeah, storytelling just kind of came natural for me. Even when I was little, so I was always writing stuff, making little short stories, even comic books. Just always kind of doing something creative. And so, as I got older, it just kind of stuck with me, and eventually started getting into writing again. And 2004, way before that, 2006, I made my first short film, and that was kind of more just I'm sorry.
What was the name of that?
The first one I did was called The Dare. And it was a little short film. It was a thriller horror film starring my nephew and my niece. My family and friends were in it. And it was kind of more just something to do, something I thought would be something fun to do. So I really wasn't taking filmmaking that serious at the time. I knew it was something I kind of wanted to look into more as a writer at that point. So I wrote this script, and no one was going to make it. And so I just made it myself. And somehow it ended up in a film festival in Tulsa. And it, again, low budget, so the quality wasn't that great. But being a horror film, audiences react to horror films. They jump, they scream, and all that stuff. And so I'm sitting there in the back of the audience watching people, scream and cover their eyes and everything. And so all the reaction you're wanting to get from the audience, I'm getting. And so it's at that point, just seeing that interaction between something that I wrote, something that I came up with, and seeing people react that way just made me fall in love with it. At that point, I started kind of taking it more seriously and started making more short films and studying the craft more. just making the projects bigger and bigger to the point to where I kind of am now.
Well, I guess to kind of where you are now, we can work backwards.
Okay.
Shiloh. Shiloh
Oh,
is on Amazon Prime.
right.
And then you recently did a Choctaw Stickball documentary, but then there was another documentary I saw floating around. So you have this like hodgepodge of new and accessible material.
Yeah. So in probably the past 4 years or so, I've been really busy with documentary filmmaking. So Shiloh was one of them. The Stickball documentary, Touchgun What Aya, which means a warrior's journey. I did a movie called Knife Chief, which is about a Pawnee boxer. I did a movie called Beans, which is about a Choctaw girl who plays golf around here. Um, the current movie I have right now is called Warrior Coach, um, about a little small native school here in Oklahoma. Um, then I've done a handful of documentaries for Choctaw Nation as well. Some of them haven't been even released yet. Um, I'm doing one right now with the Trail of Tears. We're in post production on that. I'm actually going to be going down there again tomorrow to talk more about it. Um, so a lot of documentary work lately, and I know I probably forgot something since then. But so yeah, even you mentioned Amazon Prime, Gristle Mansion, which is one of the paranormal documentaries, is also on panel on Amazon Prime as well. So
Say it again. What's on the Prime?
Gristle Mansion, which is one of the paranormal documentaries, that's been on Amazon Prime for a few years now, maybe about 2015, maybe.
I'm a jerk for never noticing. So the one that you are doing now, Warrior Coach, does
Mhm.
that have Yasmin in it? Yasmin
Oh
Meyer?
yeah, that's another one. See, I know I'm forgetting something. I got
Which
a
one is
lot
that?
of films out there. I just kind of forget, I guess, or not forget. I just talked about it kind of over
I
sometimes.
don't know who I interviewed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So that one, so that was more just a Facebook kind of a profile video. It wasn't meant to like for film festivals or anything. Well, I take that back. It started out as a bigger project than what it ended up being. So we shot that back in like February, maybe February, March, before the whole pandemic thing started. And so when that hit, um, there wasn't really hardly any stickball being played over here. I couldn't get the game footage. Um,
I hear you.
I had like an interview and I had some B-roll footage, and I went down to Durant and got a quick interview with one of her coaches and kind of made a little short film out of that. So that was supposed to have been a regular documentary, but COVID hit and changed all that.
Yeah, I lost $15,000 on a project the second it hit. So bye.
Yeah. So you know.
I'm used to being poor, so not worried about it. So I guess I'm freakishly jealous of you. It's a tormented love-hate within me because how fortunate are you to sit there and learn our history directly from
Hmm.
the mouths of our people? We have a very layered, diverse, integral history as Choctaw people in the United States, from the Trail of Tears to our relations to the governments in the five civilized tribes to I feel so thrilled that you're doing this because this really is our only kind of glimpse into some of this history.
Yeah. What's that question?
Oh, I don't know. The question is, okay, so thank you for making me edit out my idiocy.
No, I'm sorry.
So let's talk stickball. That goes all the way back to pre-colonization, to pre-DeSoto, to pre-Columbus.
Yeah. So a little bit about how that project came about. Um, well, let me kind of go back to your statement. It is really cool to talk to historians and our elders about Choctaw history, Choctaw culture, and traditions. Because there were some things that I didn't know growing up. Because I lived in Mississippi for a little bit. We moved to Oklahoma when I was a young age, and um, there was certain things that, just wasn't around us. With my dad being a preacher, um, there was just certain elements, I guess, of traditions that we just kind of wasn't familiar with. And so whenever I got older and I wanted to find out more about it, these projects came about. And so I was able to go in there and, talk to people that normally probably wouldn't have access to. And so that was just a huge blessing. And so, you know, how they say whenever you have kids, things change for you. That really is true for me. And so, like, whenever I had my son, that's when I started wanting to know more about my people and my family. I kind of did before, but it wasn't as, it seemed like it was just something I would do whenever I had time to do. Now it kind of became more of a priority. I want to find out more about my language and relearn my language. 'Cause I used to speak a little bit whenever I was younger, but learn more about the Choctaw culture. And so doing these projects, I'm learning a whole bunch, putting video to it, documenting the stuff, capturing it for basically forever now. And it's something that he can watch whenever he gets older. And same thing with Seminole Nation, being the media specialist for them. He's half Seminole as well. So he's learning from both of these from videos that I'm putting together. So yeah, it's just a huge blessing and getting to know these people and sitting down there with them. And a lot of times I forget that I'm actually doing an interview because I'm sitting there with them and I forget there's a camera. We're just at some point it kind of just becomes chit chat.
That's
And
when
I'm
you
just,
know
I'm
it's
just
good.
yeah, I'm just taking all this information in from them, and I forget. Oh yeah, we're doing an interview here, and so yeah, it's a lot of fun and just a huge blessing right now.
So the history of stickball. I was taught that that's how we used to battle. That's how we used to settle hunting territories and issues and blah blah is stickball. So it's part sport, part warfare.
Yeah, so and not just with Choctaws, a lot of Southeast tribes did the same thing. Creeks and Seminoles, and eventually the Chickasaws too. But so basically to settle disputes, over land or hunting issues or just anything really. They would play a game of stickball between tribal towns, sometimes between different tribes, and so it was a very intense game, tense battle. There's stories of even some dying, but really it was because it was to settle dispute. They didn't want to lose their own warriors because of this. So it was just to me it kind of makes sense to sell it this way. The winner gets everything. So there's a lot of historical um, stories between different tribes and tribal towns, settling disputes, and even when they weren't disputing or playing a game of stickball to settle something, they would just play among themselves to kind of stay in shape and just do something active and everything. So, um, and there was a lot of ceremony with it. Um, a lot of a lot of gambling kind of came about too because of that. One of the historians that we spoke to always kind of thought it was a nice little funny kind of running joke, I guess, is the first cheerleaders came from this because the Choctaw women were allowed to go into the field with sticks or branches, and if their man wasn't playing well enough, they could go onto the field and whip them, get onto them, and so cheering them on in a sense. And so yeah, a lot of today's sports, a lot of elements from today's sports that you see now came from stickball.
So Choctaw women, we're very matriarchal pre-contact, and I was taught that we're allowed to sing our war song and we're allowed to jump in to a battle if our men's needed us.
Yeah, Choctaw more so than other tribes, from what I've gathered. Um, I know, like say, talking about stickball being kind of a war game. Uh, so today, Seminole women and Creek women aren't allowed to play the actual game, or they're not actually allowed to grab stickball sticks.
Hmm.
Choctaw women, they play, they have their own sticks. They're out there playing. They play their own game. Uh, Now, recently, there's been stories that maybe at some point, maybe Creeks did play. Women did play with sticks, but I'm not sure how accurate that is. But yeah, so with Choctaw women, they would get out there and battle and play. And yeah, they took care of business.
Now I got our war song running through my head, but I'll keep it together. I'm ready to go. But how is that? How do you, I mean, are you just in love with our people? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you fall deeper and deeper in love with who you is as a Choctaw and who we are as a people?
Yeah, every project that I get into, there's more and more that I'm learning. And just different sides to it, not just with stickball, so with dressmaking and uh, making weapons and cooking and just beadwork. And so
We have the best beadwork. I'm not gonna lie. Like our beadwork is legit. Sorry.
yeah, they're just talented Choctaws everywhere, and so just being able to cover it and tell these stories just amazing. So yeah, every project just makes me more proud to be Choctaw.
That's what I'm saying. So I get to piggyback off you, right? Saving me a plane trip to the res.
Yeah, yeah, we got a reservation here now, so yeah.
Harrison Ben, was my great uncle, was my grandma's brother. And Cyrus Ben right now, he's like my third cousin. So I tell people I'm a
Wow.
3-time Indian princess because going back to Isaac in like the 1830s, that's my bloodline. So I just tell everybody I'm a 3-time Indian princess. What?
Nice.
What? We're not going to talk about which casino's the better one. I'm going to tell you something, and I don't know if we should edit it out. Since I first talked to you all those years ago, I've had reoccurring dreams and visions of retiring in Mississippi. And you and I actually start a television and radio media center there that's there to educate and create its own original content and support people into making content, and then distribute and broadcast 100% indigenous made content. That's how I want to retire. So we got 25 years.
25 years, okay.
So
I'll
if
put
you're
that
okay
on my
with that,
calendar. Then 25 years.
and I won't put that in our proposal, 3-time Indian princess. But that is my dream. I don't know. Maybe you like traveling around. I'm like Oprah. I just want to sit there. Bring me the people. Why do I need shoes? Why do I need shoes? So that is where I am at with stuff, and with you so dedicated to capturing these voices. Because when an elder goes, this whole chapter and vein in history disappears.
Yeah.
So I share your passion in that true conversation. I don't have a list of questions. It's organic conversation in what we're kind of meant to ask and what we're meant to talk about. It's weird.
No, I mean, capturing these voices and these stories. One thing that's really cool is tomorrow. Another thing, I'm going down to Durant tomorrow for a couple of meetings. I'm shooting another video for Choctaw Nation tomorrow as well. But they have a new cultural center that they just, it's finished, it's up, but they haven't opened yet. And so I'm going to actually get to go inside and see the new cultural center. A lot of the media, a lot of the video that's up there is stuff that I've shot for them for the past 2 years too. So I'm going to see what they did with the video. So they've talked about the mounds. They talk about boarding school, Trail of Tears.
Yeah.
I mean, just everything Choctaw is going to be covered in this new cultural center. I've seen kind of like a blueprint of it, but tomorrow I get to see it for the first time. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That is huge. I am proud of who I am, but something happens when little parts of history or visuals or things click and you're reflected in those. You walk away a little taller. Like, I can't express to people how crucial your work is to us Indigenous folk. We're all scattered to the winds, and not just one tribe. We're multi-tribal, some with European, there's so much, but what you do, I don't know, I feel rooted again. You talk about the mounds. and I reflect all the times I've been to the mounds. So I'm there. You know, it's super powerful what you do.
Thank you very much. I'll admit that I don't know as much about, the era of when we were, mounds people, but I'm excited to learn more about it tomorrow. That's kind of one of the projects that we are working on too. So
Let me in
again,
on it. I'm a damn fine producer. I'll help you. And those mounds speak. I don't know if you know that, but the mounds in the cave state say stuff. And I heard it when I was little.
yeah, we've heard it, the Mississippi one, over at Naniwaya.
Yeah, no,
Been
that's,
there.
that's why I yelled, Naiwaya. That place talks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's not tell everybody what it says. So let's say tonight I want to Netflix and chill and drink some choke cherry wine and binge on all things Mark Williams. Where is your stuff?
So you mentioned a couple of ones on Amazon Prime. I've just recently, people are really excited about the paranormal stuff, and I haven't done those in a couple of years. But if you go to YouTube, I just threw them on YouTube actually a couple of weeks ago because of
Is
this.
it Mark Williams YouTube or the long old Native American Paranormal Association Production Society?
No, Native Boy Productions.
Okay.
That's my company, Native Boy Productions. They can go to. I have two YouTube channels, Native Boy Productions, and there's a playlist on there. And on the playlist, it'll say Native Paranormal Stories or something like that. It'll have those clips and a playlist of some of my other documentaries. Violet, which was a big movie that I did.
What? Violet? I
Yeah,
remember that. And I'm writing all these down.
Violet is the one. It's a narrative film, so it's not a documentary. It's one that my last movie that I actually wrote, edited, directed, produced, everything. That was probably the biggest movie I've done so far. That's on YouTube now. If they want to check out some of the documentaries that I've done for Choctaw Nation and some of the other tribes, that's under Digital Feather Media.
Digital
also
Feather Media. Sorry, I'm writing these down because when people ask me what, then I'm ready. I have notes that say golf girl. It's my notes because you talk too
Beans. Beans is her name, and that's also a Native Boy. That's under Native Boy Productions.
Now the Trail of Tears is not that ready yet because that, let's be real, Oklahoma was meant to be the Indian state. That's where they were just gonna ship them all. So you saying you're both both places. I think every Choctaw person is both places because at some point in our lineage, some walked and some stayed to fight it out.
Yeah. Okay. What's the question? I'm sorry.
Am I really? Is that how our conversation goes? I have to literally ask you a question. You can't just say yeah and then comment with your reply to my comment.
Yeah, I can. So the Trail of Tears documentary is, I can't talk too much about it because we haven't released all of it yet. They should be releasing the trailer here pretty soon. We have a teaser trailer put together. Everything's been approved as far as all the marketing and everything like that. But it's really about an unknown removal that took place in 1903 that a lot of people don't know about. Because when you think of Trail of Tears, do you think it took place in the 1830s and the 40s? Yep. But there is an unknown removal that took place in 1903 where a bunch of Choctaws, almost 1,000 Choctaws, were took to around Chickasaw country in Ardmore, Oklahoma. People in Oklahoma would know where that's at. And they, on paper, they vanished. They disappeared. And so there are a lot of Choctaw families living in Chickasaw country around Ardmore, Oklahoma. There's a lot of communities. There's a lot of Choctaw churches, a lot of families there. And so this story is kind of about that removal that happened in 1903. There were some sinister plots that were going on at that time too. So Choctaw Nation did an amazing job researching what happened to them, who they were, who were kind of behind some of these plots. So we've been working on this documentary for about 2 years now, and it was supposed to have released last week. That was the original release date, but then again, COVID happened, and so now we're just kind of not really for sure. Sometime in the spring, they're hoping when everything kind of clears up, they'll be.
But everything's so digital. Like nobody's ever going in the movies or bowling again.
Well, with me, I want a release. I want a theater release at least for the premiere of it. For one, I love just watching my films on the big screen, and the biggest reason is it's always a reward for people who are in the documentary to see themselves on the big screen. It's a nice thing for them, especially when the elders who I interview,
Right.
it's nice for them to see themselves on the big screen. It's not for their grandkids to see, hey, that's grandpa up there. It's a proud moment for them. So it's more of a reward for them for telling their stories so their families can hear it and see it up there. So that's the reason we didn't want to just throw it on YouTube or anything like that.
Right. You have to handle it with dignity and respect.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited.
I mean,
That's gonna be a good one.
it's a huge reward for them and acknowledgement of theirs and a huge thank you for telling their story to me.
So your paranoia stuff, your Gristle Mansion, isn't there two places or two videos, movies like that? Or just one haunted mansion? Because you're talking about some school or some boarding school or something that you guys went to once.
Yeah, we've done 7 films. So we've done boarding schools, we've done mansions, we've done churches. We've got like 7 feature films and about maybe 6 or 7 short films. So yeah, we've been to a lot of different locations.
So I was gonna bug you during Halloween, like spooky season, but I was like, no, he's all grown up now. He doesn't want to sit there and play EVPs with me.
I appreciate that.
But no, people like to be scared. I don't know what it is. Like as Native people, it's like we're always scared. So I don't do. Is horror your genre? Is that your jam?
It's fun. It's a lot of fun to make. I just love watching the reaction of the audience, their interaction. People get scared and they act like they did get scared, and it's just a good time to go to the movies. And so I just like that interaction. And I don't know, it just seemed like horror films or that kind of storytelling always kind of came easy to me. Because growing up, we told ghost stories, and some of those stuff just kind of stayed with me.
Wow, you just like torturing people. Note to self. Like
Pretty much, yeah.
you're like, oh, documentary work. I'm just preserving, the history of our people or whatever for future generations. But I really like to scare people. Good for you. Good for you. So, Shiloh, boxer chick. That one's been out for a while as well. And
Yeah,
has
2016 or 17, we shot it and put it out already. That she was competing for a world title at that time, so we followed her. We tried to release it pretty much right after it because we even had her not announce if she won or didn't win. We wanted the premiere to announce it for everybody. So that came out that year, a little bit after she competed for the title. I think it stayed on. It did film festivals for a little bit, won a few awards, and then Tribal TV, who produced the movie, they got it on Amazon Prime.
That's great. So, not trying to be rude, I'm asking as a normal human, your beans. How did you make a documentary about golf interesting?
So that one was more. So this girl, I guess you could say she was kind of a prodigy. She's 8 years old, and just nationally, just making waves on the golf scene. Not too much training; it just came natural to her. And so it was just a nice little cute story following this girl who was just destroying people on the course who were older than her. She was on ESPN already. So it was more just basically kind of following her around and just kind of seeing what makes her tick. And so, at that young age, she doesn't know how good she is. She's enjoying the moment. So it's just kind of a fun movie, and we got to sit there with the parents and talk about how they are kind of dealing with everything. And they're doing a good job as well. They're not pushing her; they're just kind of letting her kind of find her own way and everything. So that's kind of an older movie. So she's still playing golf. She's getting offers from colleges already. But she's also into other sports as well. So she's kind of becoming just a well-rounded athlete.
See how exciting. That is precious. Warrior's Journey and Warrior Coach.
Yeah.
Difference.
The difference. So yeah, Warrior's Journey is the Choctaw Stickball film. It's a feature-length film, so it's a little bit over an hour long, and that one's found on Choctaw Nation's YouTube channel. Actually, you can I just type in Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, or you can type in the title of the movie Teshkun What Aya. It pops up. Warrior Coach is about Chris Jones. He's this basketball coach here in Oklahoma, a small town called Yakoke. It's a small school, pretty much a native school. All native kids go there. Seminoles and Creeks mostly. But man, Indian kids can play ball, so they're just playing for state titles all the time. And it was kind of a story more about him, just how he is shaping these young kids to be young adults. And so it just so happened that when I started making this documentary about him, they made another trip to the state title, so to the state championship. So we got our full access to everything, and yeah, it's just kind of a good story. It's already known that they didn't win the title, so there's no spoiler alert there. So, but it's a good story that even though that they came up short and very, very short, when you watch the movie too, there's good highlights and good drama. They came so close. Even despite that, he has good life lessons that he still teaches the kids, and when they move on, they come back to the program and to thank him and just acknowledge him. So it's just a good story.
Oh, so I am looking through all this stuff. So I'm going to keep reiterating where to go because there's a lot. So Amazon Prime, YouTube, we have Native Boy Productions, Digital Feather Media.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma YouTube.
Yeah, Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. They have the Stickball documentary. They own all the rights to that, so I can't really put that on my page or anything.
Yeah. But here's
so if you want to watch that, I'm sorry.
I want people to realize that stickball, kind of explain the sport. It's like the world's tiniest little ball. Okay. I mean, it's not like basketball where you have a huge thing in a hoop. Will you explain the complicated fundamentals of stickball the best you can in the shortest way possible?
Yeah, it's about the size of a golf ball, probably. And so you have two sticks, and a lot like basketball, you have the same positions. It's on a 100-yard field. You got two goals on each end, and to score, you got to throw the ball, hit the pole with the ball, or you can, with your sticks, carrying the ball, tap it. That's how you score.
Smallest way it's so difficult to carry the ball, anyways.
Yeah, just watching them, how skilled they are. I mean, it's just really, really amazing. I mean, the ball I've seen, they have trick shots. The ball just laying there with one stick. They can run by and scoop it up, and they're just really, really skilled at it. And so you have to score by hitting the pole with the ball. You have your defenders that's around that pole. You have your centers in the middle. You have shooters on the other end, and a lot of communications involved. There's strategy involved. So I mean, the tackling in it, which football came from, jump ball, positions, two goals on the end, basketball came from. So there's a lot of sports that we see today that, came from stickball. And today it's on a 100-yard field. Back in the day, it could have been 5 miles long. I mean, it just depends. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how it is. That's Choctaw stickball. Other tribes play differently. Some play with one stick, some play cross is the version of the northern tribes. They play their version like that. Seminoles and Creeks, I think theirs they kind of run more. They run through something, and that's the way they score. Cherokees play a little bit differently as well, but still a lot of elements of the same thing. But it all kind of came back from just seven disputes.
But what a contrast of these cultures and the colonization mindset where you go in to destroy, rape, and pillage, whereas we're just, hey, we're stronger, we're better, we're smarter, proven through this game. So bye. I mean, I always thought Olympics should be the way we settle wars, but nobody listened to me.
Yeah, we're still here. I mean, it's an ancient game. One of the taglines for the movie poster for the Stickball film was "Stickball is our identity," which is so true. You know, they liken Stickball with language. I mean, that's how important it is to the Choctaw people. That's our identity, and so it's been around for that long. Um, and so it's just something that it did. You know, honestly, here in Oklahoma, it did kind of go away for a little bit. Um, Around the turn of the century, around 1903, was banned here in Oklahoma. There was a big game between the Choctaws and the Chickasaws that kind of got out of hand. Uh, Law enforcement were called in. They came in there and they put a stop to it. So it got crazy, and so they were just looking for a reason to make them stop playing. They didn't like that they were doing this, you know. Even though people, whenever they would play stickball back then, farmers and ranchers and people from all over would come just to watch, and they would be in the pasture. People just watching these games. But it was a rough game, and so they banned it for a few years. It was illegal, um, but you know, again, being resilient and just that Choctaw spirit just carries on. They found ways to still play. That's kind of when night games kind of came about. Um, they would play. Some say they'd play at churches. They would find different ways to kind of get around it. So it did kind of go away for a little bit, and then probably about in the '60s or so, in the '70s, it started reviving back up. And around the Ardmore area, there was a big movement. And then Broken Bow, around Broken Bow area, there's a lot of Choctaws over there. They kind of kept it alive along with the language, and so it kind of just went away for a little bit, or it slept. It's probably a good.
Flipped.
It slept for a little bit. It's probably a better explanation. But now it's alive and well, and there's little kids picking it up, and there youth leagues all around here playing. My boys playing. So it's just a good time right now to be Choctaw.
Way yeah. So okay, you talk about all the things required in stickball. I like all the things that aren't required in stickball, like shoes and shirts. So that's my favorite part. It's like 100 dudes half naked fighting it out. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of sports except stickball. So
Well, tournament play is a little different. Tournaments, you had to have a jersey, and so
I thought it was colored by apron.
you what?
I thought it was just colored by apron. How we do.
No. So tournaments, yeah, you need there's some rules to it. Rules kind of took over, I guess, after a while. Even for safety reasons, there were like late hits kind of came about. The Jism found in Seminole and Creek Way. Seminole and Creeks, yeah, there's no jersey, there's no nothing like that. It's more. There's more. Their game is more ceremonial. They don't play for tournaments. They don't. You won't find their games on YouTube like Choctaw is.
Yeah.
Theirs is more sacred. It's around different times during stomp dancing, and so it's something that I'm excited that my son is going to play in those games because he's Seminole as well. But then he also play with Choctaw teams as well.
Well, let's talk about your boy for a minute because he's a youngin, and every picture, all he does is carry his sticks. So I'm expecting like some world championship stickball something when he's like 13.
Man, I hope so. I get some messages from different coaches around here who wants him to play on their team. So I'm gonna have to start asking for that money, I guess, already.
Cool. He's got sponsorship.
Yeah, but he loves it, and he's really good. But it's hard to say because here in Shawnee, it's just me and him that play. There's really no Choctaws around here for him to play with. So I can't wait for him to get into a league down in Durant so he can actually hit and tackle and do everything else and kind of get the other thing. So right now it's just kind of me him throwing the ball around, but he's getting pretty good at it.
That's awesome. So I'm a huge Buck Cheeto fan. So I always root for them. My
Yeah, they're
family
good.
is from Standing Pine, but nope. I don't know. Do we have a sign? Buck Cheeto? I don't know. But yeah, it's intense. And I encourage people to check it out or YouTube it or
Yeah,
really
YouTube
get
it.
into it by watching your warrior's journey because it's fun, it's ancient, it's who we are, it's competitive, it's there's so much surprisingly encompassed in one little sport.
Yeah, what's really cool too is people who during Tuskahoma during Labor Day Festival that'll come to watch the games. One of the things that they say is they didn't know there's so much strategy involved. They think it's just a bunch of Indians running around trying to score, but there's a lot there. There's certain passes and there's certain. So I've been to the practices and I'm watching them talk about their different times in the game where they shift, and I mean it's just really cool to see how they discuss strategy. And when they're playing for the World Series tournament in Mississippi, I'm in there between games and I'm in the huddle, and so I'm hearing all their how they're trying to discuss game time strategy. And so it's not just running around throwing the ball around. It's very intense, but it's a smart game as well.
You triggered me just now because I feel like people think that we never had a strategy before Columbus or before DeSoto, before colonization, that we didn't have a strategy. We were just running around with sticks screaming at each other. Come on. So yeah, I got to breathe that out real quick. But it is, what you're doing is shedding light and opening a door for people to understand who we are, where we come from, and maybe enjoy it with us, celebrate with us, get into it with us, put a little money down with us.
Yeah, that always helps too.
So, Mark Williams, I'm sorry that I didn't ask enough questions. Because again, I don't write them down. I just draw pictures of Stickball by my errands list and scribble scraps of your movies. So
That's a good picture.
I even put the little leather wraps.
Hey.
I'm not coordinated enough to do it. I tried when I was younger and it's hard.
It is hard. I wish, how I said it kind of went away for a little bit, but now it's back. Whenever I was younger, it wasn't as popular as it is now. I heard about stickball, I knew what it was, but it just wasn't in every community like it is now. I wish it was, so I could have played. I'm picking it up now, and then I'm playing in the older league over.
He said the older league.
Well, they have a 40-year. They have the regular tournament, and then they have teams for 40 and over, and so it's a little bit slower. It's not as fast.
Is the ball bigger?
No, everything's the same. Everything's the same. Still intense, but so yeah, I'll be playing with Tuskahoma. Maybe they've been trying to get me on the play for a while, but usually when I'm down there filming, I'm on the job, so really can't just put the camera down and go out there and play. But I do want to. So at some point, I don't know. Maybe whenever Coda gets older, we'll be on the same team.
No, you'll always be on the older team, honey.
Oh, I mean, well, even the 40-year-olds play on the regular team as well. Some of them do.
I don't know. I feel safer on the older team.
I do too. I would too.
I've accepted my olderness.
I can sit on the bench for them for sure.
No, I want to be a cheerleader. Go whoop them with a stick. Get them motivated again. Like, you know how to play, son. Get up. But no, sometimes I feel like I'm so feral or untamable. But as a Choctaw woman, I got a fire. I got a fire in me. I just do. And I'm carrying a bunch of incredibly strong, bossy, independent, semi-angry women. And I love it.
Awesome.
I'm like every grandma and auntie wrapped into one with the wooden spoon. Ready to whoop on you. No, your little Coda whoop me back.
Yeah, he's a tough little guy.
I believe it. Mark Williams, I so appreciate your time. I know you're busy, dude, with everything that you're doing, including being a single dad. Yeah, ladies, I said single dad. Once again, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and on YouTube, there's Native Boy Productions, Digital Feather Media, Choctaw Nation, of Oklahoma. I got Oklahoma YouTube. And what are we pending? What are we looking forward to the rest of the year? Nothing? Is this all you got?
No, so you can also, another little plug, Seminole Nation YouTube channel. A lot of videos that I've done for them, I'm really excited and proud about. It's on their channel as well. So I'm actually doing a Bigfoot documentary here in a couple of weeks. So this is not a paranormal thing. It's not with the Native American Paranormal Project. This is something a little bit different. So for the past, I want to say about 2 years, I've been talking with this one guy who is a well-known paranormal researcher, world-renowned guy. The cool thing about it is he's half Choctaw. And so it's more about his story, what he's doing. It's not really looking for Bigfoot or trying to convince people he's real, even though I do believe he's real. But it's more about him and what he's doing. And we have old ancient Choctaw stories about Bigfoot. So it's going to be about those stories as well. We are going to go out with him on one of his trips into the woods. So, we'll be filming. If something happens, that'd be great. But it's more just kind of about some of our old stories that we have as Choctaw people and about what he's doing as well. So we start filming that on December 12th, I believe.
So a little bit about Bigfoot that I was taught is that we learned what to eat sometimes from Bigfoot. Is that
could be? I haven't heard that. I'm learning a bunch of stuff about it too. So that really could be.
Bigfoot fanatic, but yeah, Bigfoot. We'd watch what didn't kill Bigfoot, and then we learn new foods and new medicines from those glimpses.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so there's so many stories, not just with Choctaw people, but just a lot of tribes believe that Bigfoot is more of a spirit than a physical being. So there's just all these different stories that's going to come about from this.
Interdimensional. That's why nobody can find it. I'm putting out, like, I got goosebumps. I'm putting out like every cosmic anything for you guys to get a glimpse or to get a footprint or to get a clump of unidentifiable DNA hair. I'm so rooting for you.
He's got stuff. He's actually got stuff that, and there's been film crews. Like I said, he's kind of a world-renowned guy. So there's been documentaries that have been made about him and his
BFRO?
Group. What?
Is he with BFRO?
He was with them, I think, in the 90s or something. Now he started a group, and I remember he told me they had a falling out, so he left that group, and then he started his own. I forgot what the name of their group is.
It doesn't matter.
Most of his guys come from Texas, and so, but they're non-native, and Bigfoot's so
not in Texas, though.
What?
Bigfoot's not in Texas.
Yeah, there's stories. There's stories.
Bigfoot's not there.
But so they've had a lot of documentaries. They're used to working with film crews. But no one has done something that I'm doing, the indigenous side of it.
Honey, nobody's done anything you're doing because you're you.
Right.
Take that.
So that's what I have coming up. I'm pretty excited about it. And so, yeah, if they follow my page, and I'll be kind of posting some, behind the scenes stuff as we're kind of going along. Then I'll probably put like a little teaser trailer out there as well.
Do you need a gaffer? Do you need a gaffer?
All that's covered already.
Oh, no, I will sing the Bigfoot song. I will get that fool there. I'm telling you. After this interview, I'm going to play the Bigfoot song so everybody can know how, we know.
Okay.
I love it. Oh, my goodness. So you're not pigeonholed into one thing as a Native man. You're not only allowed to do cultural, historical documentaries. You're a screenwriter. You're a horror freak. You're a sports documentarist. And now does this consider wildlife photography?
Oh yeah, that could be. I could add that to my resume now.
Oh, and the next project we'll do together is aliens. Extraterrestrials. Because I seen something in our Mississippi caves, and I seen some things with a few like they know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe. I mean, I believe in all that too.
Well, and that's why Star Wars, like Yoda living in it's not Bodega. What was his planet that Yoda
Yoda?
came? Yeah, that he was on. Began with a B. Anyways,
Bodega.
sounds like bodega. Oh, I have it
Oh, it was
somewhere in my
bodega.
brain.
Yeah.
But it was all swampy, right? It
Yeah.
was all Mississippi-ish. So I was all, so when people started claiming Baby Yoda, I was like, that full Choctaw.
Yeah, Lucas in an interview mentioned that a lot of indigenous stories, were inspired him to write.
Cool, steal our stuff and make a multi-billion-dollar enterprise and not give us any. Thanks. Lucas. My brother did a soundboard at Lucasfilm Studio or something because he's an audio engineer, but nobody takes me anywhere. That's cool. Whatever. Makes it fine. So I'm going to tell Bigfoot to just leave a pile of dung for you guys to find. That's it. That's all you're going to have to film is like a slow motion long shot of unidentifiable dung.
That's the movie poster right there.
That is. Mark Williams, you're a treasure and a treat. I really appreciate your time. I'm sorry for bugging you. I'm sorry I'm not a normal questioner, journalist, interviewer.
No problem. Thanks for reaching out. I'm sorry. I think we was trying to schedule last week, wasn't we? So
Yeah.
thanks for being patient with me.
Oh, I'm a silent stalker super fan. I hide behind I have a radio show just so I can harass you. It's a thing.
Well, I'm glad you did this.
Okay, well, be ready. Like, really put it in your brain's back burner. But this is going to be like a multi-million-dollar television and radio studio in Mississippi. We'll take money.
25 years, right? 25 years?
Yeah, we'll take money from the health center. Who cares?
All right.
Like, once the VD is cleared, do we need that extra wing? I'm kidding. We don't have our own Choctaw diseases. Thank you very much. Mark Williams, Native Boy Productions, Digital Feather Media, Amazon Prime. Find him, stalk him. Mark Williams is kind of a normal name, but you're going to see some dude with the camera and some little boy all stickballed out.
That's right.
And then what about Twitter and Instagram or TikTok or Snapchats?
So I have all that too. I have a Twitter, but I haven't tweeted like in a long time. But yeah, so Instagram, you can find some of my stuff on there. They should be under Native Boy 1977. And then Digital Feather Media, Instagram.com/Digital Feather Media has all my professional stuff on there.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. Like, you don't understand. You're big cheese to me. I look up to you. I love what you're doing. I feel connected to my culture through you. I get to watch things. You're a big chunk of my brain heart there, Mark Williams, if you like it or not.
Wow, he's called me a big chunk. Okay, I see.
Hey, someday you may be my big chunk. We'll see. I gotta keep snooping on your face. We got to figure out how cousined we are.
I know.
That's number one. We'll send each other.
Well, you said Ben.
I know.
You said you're kin to Cyrus. I think we are too. Somewhere.
I know. But and then we have to decide, is fifth cousin okay?
I don't know.
We'll figure it out. So be thinking about it because you got to hear it. Okay, Mark Williams, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, that's a cut. But when you listen to my board video waiting for you, I was like, let's make some brown babies. And I was like, no, let's adopt brown babies. How many do you need for a stickball team? I'm so stupid. I was bored.
Wow. Okay.
But I love you. Okay. And I am trying to do what you're trying to do with the world, but through audio, broadcasting. And I'm trying to add the visual part because I just have a Zoom recorder and it's like, none. So I've been video also all my interviews. But what do I do with that? How do I What you do editing video is garbage. I can't edit audio because I hate my fucking voice. I can't sit there and listen to myself for like 2 hours. So makes me crazy. So I understand all the shit that you do and deal with. And so it makes me appreciate and admire you even more.
Yeah, I mean, editing is the toughest part of making a movie, and so it takes the longest time too. So
Isn't it like 6 minutes per minute? I heard something like that.
Like 6 minutes of actual time.
Like you spend 6 minutes on every minute that somebody actually sees.
Ooh, I would say it's probably longer than that.
But that's just what I heard. I heard that it's like every minute that we see has these other millions of minutes attached to it. So
yeah, I would say a lot more than that.
You're the shizzle, my big chunk, and I love you. I'm coming after you, Mark Williams. We're gonna do good Choctaw things.
Awesome. I'll be waiting.
And then Bigfoot can marry us.
Yeah, I'll keep you updated with what happens out there. I think that's gonna be a good one.
Well, and if you also want some other indigenous perspective, my uncle Tony, Southern Sierra Miwok, because I'm Choctaw, Broken Road, and then I'm Southern Sierra Miwok, a Yosemite tribe.
Okay.
And so Bigfoot's both sides. Bigfoot is a duh. Like Bigfoot exists.
Yeah.
And we're too loud and smelly that's why we don't see him.
I'm glad. I mean, it's just gonna be a cool story. I know natives that they're just all about Bigfoot. So
it's crazy. No, we have like ceremonial Bigfoot songs. Like I'm so pumped. I mean, I thought I was pumped at Stickball, but now I'm like, fuck our culture.
I'm excited about just the stories. I mean, just the storytelling of it and some of the stories that we've heard. There's stories about Bigfoot came with them on Trail of Tears, and so to hear all this is going to be really cool.
I think we would have fared better if Bigfoot was with us on the Trail of Tears. We wouldn't have been carrying so many of our own.
Well, I mean, more the spirit, spirit, because he's a protector of indigenous people. So there's stories about Bigfoot, Mississippi. There's stories about here in Oklahoma. How did he get to Oklahoma?
Because that interdimensional, like it's a thing, it's a being that comes in and out. That's
what I'm saying. It came with them in that sense. It was with them.
I can't wait. Because you're a nut job. Like usually if you talk about Bigfoot or do stuff about Bigfoot or aliens, you're a nut job. If you talk about ghosts, you're a nut job. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to be taken seriously when we talk about these things. But if you put a cultural twist on it, then people tend to listen a little bit more. We're not the conspiracy theorists. We're the cultural theorists.
Yeah, and also make it clear too that I'm not trying to find Bigfoot. I'm not trying to convince people that it's real. It's more just about these stories. Yeah, we're going to go. Like I said, we're going to go with him. I mean, he owns a huge chunk of this place here in Oklahoma called Honabee, where he does this for a living. And so there's a huge Bigfoot conference. People come from everywhere to Honabee. He runs that. And so he owns these cabins out there. There's a family of Bigfoot right around there, and they know him. And so whenever he takes groups out there, they're so comfortable with him that they know what he does. They kind of put on a show. They'll throw sticks. They'll make noises. They'll make themselves known.
They'll throw rocks.
Rocks for the group. There's a really cool story of something that happened to a documentary crew when they came out there, where I don't want to give too much away, but it's just gonna be really cool because I am really.
We already did the rap. You already said thank you. So this is give me the juice. This is all cut out. This is our shit.
So there was a documentary crew that came with them. They didn't really believe in Bigfoot. They just kind of wanted to make a story about his group. But they brought a medium with them. So he took a group, documentary group was following him and his group. And one by one, everybody started getting sick. And the medium said that I guess there was a mama Bigfoot that was talking to her and said, "Stop, you guys are getting too close to our ceremonial ground. We have a young one that's sick." If you guys will just stop and not go any further, we'll put on a show. We'll make it worth your while. And so, of course, documentary crew was like, yeah, they didn't really believe it. But anyway, they stopped. They didn't cross this little river, so they wouldn't get too much closer to their ceremonial ground. And then, sure enough, that night they started surrounding them, doing different things, making sounds, throwing sticks, throwing rocks, and just making it worth their while. And so, I'm pretty confident we'll capture something while we're out there, because this family they're just so comfortable with Troy. His name is Troy. They're so comfortable with him, and so pretty excited to see what happens. Again, not to try to convince people, but hear these old Choctaw stories, plus some cool footage.
Well, if you need other natives from other parts of the country to say the same thing, I got family over here and an iPhone 11. No, my camera guy's got a 4K some shit. So that's what I'm saying. I could like do some supplemental interviews if you need it from another side. I'm just throwing it out there,
Yeah. This could be something that branches out as something bigger. And
so Paiutes, where I do ghost dance ceremony, they got stories, and I've seen some stuff because I was like, where do you hide? Right? I hear things. I'm back you 100%. I will testify at your trial that you're not cuckoo. You're just Choctaw. It's okay. It's a special kind of crazy. No, I think being weird is how we survive this long. Or maybe you're not weird.
Yeah.
Ew, are you normal?
Sometimes.
Williams, I'm going to let you go edit stuff. I love you so hard. I will bug you soon.